Sports.
What about him?
Well, football.
Tell us about it.
In Oklahoma sports football, there's a lot going on. If you love the sports. Quarterback of the Oklahoma Sooners, John Mateer, hurt his hand. He's getting surgery. That's a big loss because, honestly, I think he's the only reason why we're actually doing good this year. So, he was also a front runner to win the Heisman Trophy, which is the biggest in college football. And so if he gets hurt and loses games,
yikes,
and that ruins his chances.
Yikes.
Bigger thing for the Oklahoma State fans is legendary coach Mike Gundy has been fired.
Oh, I didn't hear about this.
Really?
Yeah. I don't pay attention.
Tuesday.
He's been
that
there for
close to this.
over 20 years.
What was he fired for?
He sucks now.
They're just not doing
Because they're having a bad season.
the-
Was it after the TU loss?
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. After
It's like embarrassing.
everybody's thoughts, some people love him, some people are super glad that he's gone. But yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State was not a great program 20 years ago and many years before then.
I think diehard OSU fans knew that it was time for Mike Gundy to be gone, but
Yeah.
they're frustrated that they fired him mid-season. They felt like he should have been...
Like he should have been given a retirement and all that. Like the party or whatever.
Allegedly, he was offered... like Oklahoma State was like, you can retire and we'll give you the rest of the year, and he declined it.
Really?
That's a report I saw.
Honestly,
I don't know how.
I'm really surprised by that.
Well, him and Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney are living in the past, and they're both just like
Dabo's the next.
they're trying to be like,
one.
but look at all the things I've done.
You better watch it. You're gonna wake up tonight with Mike Gundy standing over you.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like, would
I'm
you
a
say,
man.
punk?
yeah.
Yeah, for real. He did. He
did.
has a temper.
He did say that. He's good.
Yeah. OSU was bad at football for a long time. He showed up and they got close to being great.
What's hard?
And so,
It's everyone's like,
deal.
oh, he's the best coach in Oklahoma State history. Yeah, he's been there for
For sure.
over 20 years. I hope so.
Yeah. But
You know what I mean?
That's
Jeez Louise.
but yeah. The reason
Wow.
why everything went downhill is because college football has changed so much.
He didn't want to.
yeah.
He
Like
didn't
the
want to
NFL,
buy
so.
into the NIL,
Oh.
like recruiting players and.
too bad, man.
Just resulted
The,
in
the Madden game is made with that stuff now. Like they, the NCAA games, they're full of it.
Yeah.
for real. That's come on. That's how we got college football back. The video game. Get out of here, Mike Gundy.
Yeah, you can't go against that.
Yeah.
It's an uphill battle, man.
Yeah,
That's funny. All right. Well,
good
let's talk about friendship.
friendship with Mike
Okay.
Gundy.
Thanks for joining us on That's a Reach. We're going to talk about how to deal with friends, how to deal with those who are lost, how to love on them, but also let the Lord enact what he needs to on their hearts.
Mindless, and I'll be spineless. Tryna shine a light in Nashville, where you find us. Planted in the middle of the city like the Ryman. Real life looking like gold, real Leviathan. Multiplied fish, didn't need Poseidon. I don't pop a pill, I need a verse, not a Vicodin. Feeling like Daniel Cormier in a lion's den. Had the dog out Simba, cut the backwoods like they called out Timber. Had a hater tell me that the tribe not the best. Man, that's feeling like a stretch, and you not that limbo. Everything I love, that's a reach.
Question number 1. What do you do if a friend drifts away from the church and you know they are living a double life, meaning they live in the world, but they say they are a Christian?
Yeah, so let's read. We're gonna read a verse first, just to say like kind of the principle of where we start thinking about this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's in 1 John. It's they went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out, that it might become plain that they all are not of us.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is like one of the main topics of the book of 1 John, right? Like the book of 1 John is, we say it's like the assurance book, right? Well, why? Because the focus point is, how are you sure you're saved? Well, what's the inverse of that? Like, how are you sure you're not saved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of one of the biggest indicators in 1 John is the love of the church, right? Not like the church building or the church ceremony, although those are part of it, but the love of the church people, right?
Yeah.
And so somebody who has drifted away from church really doesn't even have a claim to be Christian anymore. Now, let's be clear. I don't think you can lose your salvation, and I'm not claiming that somebody is or isn't saved.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not, I can't see that,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying is, if you have drifted away from the church and are living a double life, there is no evidence you are saved, right? Your claim to being saved is basically invalidated.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not saved, but what it should scare you. The person who has this faulty claim now should think, wow, I don't even know if I'm saved.
Yeah.
I should do the things that God's word says and get back into my church and fall in love with the church again. It's a safety mechanism.
Yeah.
When you realize like what it means to be a Christian and how you live don't match.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then the inverse side of that, for as far as like the person asking the question, is this: we do this thing, and I'm not even saying that the person asking the question is doing this per se, but we do this thing where we, instead of having hard conversations with people, we just try to convince ourselves that they're actually saved.
Right.
And so it's more of a self-comfort than taking seriously the crisis that they're in, right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You've got somebody, whether you may even think, man, I've seen fruit in that person's life. I thought they were saved. They were so mature, whatever. And they walk away from the church, they begin to live in sin.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't matter, right? Nothing else matters. Because here's the deal. Let's play it out both ways. That person is not saved.
Yeah.
Guess what? They need to hear the gospel.
Totally.
You don't need to do backflips trying to figure out whether they are or aren't saved. They need to hear the gospel because they need to get saved and then fall in love with the church. And by the way, fall in love with the church is a supernatural thing. Like unbelievers can't truly love the church. And honestly, that's why it's hard to come to church if you're not a believer, because it's like, why?
Yeah. Why does it matter?
It sucks there, right? So then that's one side. They're not saved. Great, they need to hear the gospel. Okay, well then let's do the other one. They are saved, but they're living a double life. Then they need to hear the gospel. So it doesn't matter. It's not. You don't need to make a judgment on whether or not they are or aren't saved.
It's not your job.
Yeah, you do need to appeal to them that the way they're living doesn't look like they're saved.
Yeah.
And then you need to share the love of Christ with them because, at best, if Jesus came back the next second or they died the next second, at best, it's a shoulder shrug.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in heaven. I don't know. Because the way they were living didn't look like they were saved, And that's the urgency behind, Jesus could come back in a second, is like, don't spend seasons of life living in sin with just completely unsure if you're saved or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea is that every time you feel like, I'm not sure if I'm saved, it should drive you into repentance, which is the evidence that you're saved.
Yeah.
Which that idea of, regardless of whether you think they're saved or not, the gospel is the topic that you need to be discussing. I mean, that broadens this topic into a much more broad conversation of that's how we should all be interacting with everyone that we're close to, your family members who you're worried about, your friends who you're worried about, your coworkers and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you should be having gospel conversations all the time with everyone. I mean, if you are Christians, that's evidence, is because why, as Christians, would you not be encouraging each other about the things that God's teaching you and the things you're learning about the gospel? And then, with your lost ones, all the more reason to keep harboring on that.
Yeah.
All right. This next question, with a little bit more specifics, says, I'm trying to save a friendship in precarious circumstances, but my friend has continually pulled away. How do I know when to keep pushing because I care about this person's welfare, and when to let them go because they continue to pull away?
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah. For starters, I think, and actually I love the wording here. Sometimes people's wording is unintentional, but it allows me to talk about it more specifically.
Yeah, I messed it up so much.
Well, but the person may not mean this the way that it came across, but like the phrase keep pushing is actually a great phrase to say, because I would say that pushing is already kind of the wrong point, right? Which it's more like keep offering.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a different concept, because there's a level at which we sometimes shoulder too much of the decisions of other people. Like if they do or don't make a right decision, maybe we could have done more, or we just feel so bad or whatever. And it's like, listen, at the end of the day, my calling in my friend's life is to be obedient, to present them with the truth in a loving, genuine, caring way, because I care about them. But only they can make the decision, right? It's between them and God. And so first I have to unburden myself with their decision. And then I basically never fail to make it clear that I care for them.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And even to the extent that I can gently say, I care about you so much that I want you to come back to church, and I want you to be involved in these circumstances. I want you to make things right with this person, whatever. And you're clothing everything even the rebukes, you're clothing them in this invitation of, I'm not telling you this because I'm mad at you, or I'm swinging at you.
I care for you.
Care for you, right?
And we also judge whether we're doing a good job because of the response, how much sense it makes to that person. Blah blah blah. It's like, honestly, it's not going to make much sense to a lost person, but at most, what they get out of you doing this often is, this person clearly cares about what they're telling me, and they care about me because they're telling me so much.
One of the things I tried to make evident in my life, like when I was in college, was, if I share the gospel with someone and they weren't having it, I always wanted to be someone that they could call in the middle of the night if they needed something. And it was just like, hey, it's that relationship though that we're talking about.
You're nailing it, because one of the things I like to tell people is, whatever you do, don't burn the bridge on their way across it.
Yeah.
Right? Because then when they hit the inevitable brick wall, the rock bottom, they're not coming back to you, because the last thing, it's almost like, whether they think, well, they hate me now, or they're just embarrassed, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for that person to go, you know who's always been there for me?
Yeah.
And listen, I've seen people come back around after years of being, squirrely and hiding.
Yeah.
But if you slap them right as they exit, they don't come back to you.
Yeah.
What are some examples of burning the bridge in that situation, or slapping them?
Like taking it on yourself, like out of the Holy Spirit's hand, taking it on yourself to basically let them have it for all the things they're doing wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like when you rebuke haughtiness, pride. You rebuke like the bragging of evil, right? And even then, I would argue that you almost only really need to do that when it's being put on display to others. Like somebody comes and sits down in my office and goes, I don't care, this is the way I want to live my life. I think it's okay. Even then, I don't need to respond real aggressively. It's just me. They're not convincing me they're right.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I can still be gentle, because everything apart from, again, we're back to like this idea of like, the worst thing you can do is not go to hell. It's take others with you, right? So if you are bragging about sin in a way that's going to drag somebody else down, then we're going to have a rebuke. Then we're going to meet that head on so that everybody sees this is wrong. But if you just come into my office and tell me how right you are and how wrong the church is and how you're going to live in sin, I'm still going to treat that as weakness. I'm going to treat every form of weakness the same, as just gentleness of saying, okay, I hear you. I'm telling you though, this is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just telling you that the end result of this is bad for you.
Yeah.
And if you talk to people like that, if you, instead of you're doing everything wrong and blah, 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 like this rampage mode at them, if instead you're just constantly putting on display, hey, I'm not trying to fight with you,
because they're probably going to expect you to
they're
come
ready
back
for
and,
that
and ready to go.
Yeah.
And then when we show them love and tenderness and kindness, they're like, okay, well, maybe I am kind of being
and then
a little much.
When we finally reach, eating out of the pig's trough moment, they think, I bet they would at least, and they'll come back a little sheepishly,
sure,
but usually, and then this is where you get to really show them. I mean, you get to be Christ in that moment, where you get to put the Savior on display, because that person comes back, tail between their legs. I messed up my whole life, and you get to go, I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah, totally.
And that melts people, because that's the gospel.
Yeah.
Christ isn't like crossing his arms, tapping his toe, waiting to slap people with a Bible when they come back.
Yeah.
He's going, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah.
And it's like, that energizes, because people come in broken, they hear that, they're like, they'll break down.
Changes lives.
Yeah, everybody Like, that's the great perspective of spreading the gospel is not debating people and winning arguments over them.
Yes.
It's telling them what the gospel is and then actively living it out in front of them as you tell them with your gentle, unworldly spirit,
Yes.
which is only from Christ.
Here's the deal. Apologetics, I think, has two really good uses. Apologetics is just like general theology knowledge. One, helping believers strengthen their faith. Okay, believers can strengthen their faith by understanding the reasonable claims of Christianity. Okay, so that's great. The other one is it can be an easy way to sweep aside like flimsy, last-minute blocks to the gospel. Like I had a girl in my office say, she said, she was interested, she was curious, and she said, I think it was like how do we know Jesus even existed? And I was like, well, the same way that George Washington existed, because somebody wrote it down and passed it on, and that's all history. And that's an apologetic answer to that question, but she wasn't doing that to debate me.
Yeah, right.
It was it was the last obstacle in between her and accepting. And as soon as I swept it aside, she went, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And she got saved. And that's fantastic. What a great use of apologetics. The third use, the one that most people get interested in apologetics for, is to win debates.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to be an apologist.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're the person who's going around debating in public in front of people. That's a great testimony. But if your goal in learning apologetics is to beat your friends, your non-Christian friends in debates so that they'll become Christians, that's not going to work out.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Apologetics doesn't save, the gospel does.
Yeah.
So
Apologetics is inherently not the faith answer, right? Because at the end of the day, you can listen. I think our faith is incredibly reasonable.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the end of the day, nothing will get you that last inch, which is, but I have to believe Jesus did this for me.
yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's faith. And so that's the thing, is like, you can't argue somebody across that line. You can argue them. You can argue the obstacles out of the way, but that line still is crossed by faith.
Yeah.
And so I think that when you go into these discussions with your coworkers that are arrogant about being, atheist or agnostic or whatever, and you're like, I'm going to debate them out of this. It's like, listen, so let's say you're successful, you are in for the ride of your life, because here's what happens at the very end. Say you actually do it. You studied up and you corner somebody. Just watch the backflip, because they will get all the way into that corner and they will do the most crazy mental gymnastic backflip that you have ever seen and still not become a Christian, because it was never about the reasons in the first place.
They don't want it.
It's just a rejection.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yep. That is the huge part. And especially in our culture where we're at these days, that's what we do about everything, is we debate everything, and no one's actually trying to understand or to rationalize and learn something new. It's I'm learning what I want to learn, and then I'm going to tell everybody regardless of what I think.
I mean, I got off social media because I mean, for several reasons. One of them being, I don't think anybody's ever been convinced by a type war. No one's ever become a Christian. I mean, I'm sure somebody has, but the point is, like, very rarely is anybody debating anything on a Facebook wall that makes any progress.
Right. Yeah. But the fact that you could have a conversation where you so much disagree with someone who's doing things that you consider horrible, but then they see you respond with, that's not what I'm concerned with. What I want to know is, do you know that you're loved despite this? It's like, well, that will blow somebody's mind. They won't respond. They may not respond. And it's like, that's kind of a good sign most times.
Yeah.
It's because they're thinking.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
Cool. All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Keep sending in your questions. We'll keep having the Q&R code around at Reach on Tuesday nights. But we hope you've enjoyed. This has been That's a Reach. We'll talk to you later.
Cool.
Everything I love, that's a reach.
You said the Q&R code.
The Q&R. Oh my gosh.
We'll have the Q&R code.
I looked right at you.
We'll have the Q and the R code.